This is a fascinating story, chronicled in Book 1 of the Christmas in My Heart series by Joe Wheeler. The story is written by Don Dedera, and it's entitled The Why of Christmas. Mid-December's raindrops drill down like chill needles on this night in the tiny southwestern Arizona town with the oddest of place names. Why? Sleet drapes the eaves of the Why trading post and glazes the lonesome road forks. Bob, the Indian clerk, stomps through the front door with a filled kerosene can. He grumps. Last summer, during the drought, our cows died of thirst. Now the roads run rivers. Getting slick, snow by morning. He glowers into the gloom engulfing an Indian reservation twice the size of Delaware. Then go home, Bob, says the trading post owner, Peggy Cater. I'll close up. Bob nods gratefully. Through the sodden darkness, he is glad to hurry to his family many miles away, deep within Papago land. Normally, Mrs. Cater keeps late hours because some of her customers must travel 50 miles to shop. But probably none will come this night. In such foul weather, the Papago gods themselves hide within their underground maze. Now alone, Mrs. Cater takes up her cherished chore, stuffing hundreds of stockings with treats and toys for her annual Christmas party. Abruptly, the driving downpour bursts through the doorway and deposits a Tohono O'odham, or Papago, family, blinking against the electric light. The young mother slings an infant on her hip. 2 small barefoot boys leave wet tracks across the wooden floor. They stare silently at the sweets. Peggy hands them a taste. Aren't you cold without shoes? Did you leave them at home? Blurts Mrs. Cater. But she should have known better. In the year of 1967, poverty and privation among the Papago are commonplace. Why was just a Y in the road when Peggy and her husband moved here 20 years earlier, and they have watched it grow with electricity and telephone and water system and post office and modern roadside facilities for tourists passing through to Mexico and California. But into the 1960s, not much yet has improved the lot of a tribe that early befriended the Spanish priests, 49ers, American soldiers, and pioneer immigrants who crossed their lands. In fact, their hospitality may have accounted for an irony. The Papago were the last large tribe to be granted a reservation by the Great White Father. The Indian mother drops her head in shame. In the Papago language, she explains that this year the Bean people have found no work on the parched reservation, and that she and her family had journeyed north in hopes of harvesting cotton fields. But then long spells of rain had delayed the picking. Now they are hitchhiking back to their clay and cactus house at Hautes-en-Vaux. They have no money for shoes, only for necessities. Mrs. Cater frowns at the thin, frayed shirts, the patched denims. This will not do. Impulsively, she pulls down 2 new outfits from her shelves. Flannel shirts, Levi's, wool socks, quilted jackets, and shoes. Expensive, water-repellent horsehide ankle tops. The boys tense under the white woman's touch, but they submit to her for measuring for sizes. Shyly, they rub the synthetic fur coat collars. Then they grin with gaping teeth, realizing the clothes are truly their own and will not be taken back. Peggy prattles on to bridge the awkward moments. By a wall of horse collars, the Indian woman weeps into a cup of her hand. The O'odham are a proud people who have always taken care of their own when they can. The lessons of the oft harsh desert and the parables of the old ones encourage a culture of sharing. To give is humankind's noblest virtue. No charge for the clothes. Now, what are the necessities? In the early days, the Papago father, with much ritual, might have fetched salt from a slough of the Sea of Cortez, 100 miles to the south. Now he orders a blue cylinder of on, salt, 25 pounds chewy, flour, 4 pounds munyak, lard, a can of aspaula, baking soda. For the tortillas, a sack of moo, pinto beans. For the beans, a slab of tuhuk, fat beef. A box of 22 caliber shells for hunting rabbits. Each item is ordered and purchased separately, so the remaining money might be measured against priorities. Peggy Cater babbles on, the living newspaper of why. Indian customers and white residents alike admire and respect this woman who brought in the first water well, established a senior citizen trailer park, and to serve 200 square miles of thinly populated desert, obtained the post office named Why. Why? The postmaster in Washington had asked. Why not? Was Peggy's response, and her logic won the day. Now Peggy's chatter turns to coming events. Remember the Christmas party, she says. The kids are invited. The weather may improve. So-and-so got married. What's-his-name is sick. And Peggy idly adds, I had hoped to pick some of those big seeds, some of those seeds that taste like nuts that you find on top of the big Ajo Mountains. But the storm came and... Time to go. There is no word in the Papago tongue for thanks. The people say it with their eyes. Then the couple vanish into the blackness, their bundled-up boys bounding behind like warm, woolly pups. A week passes. Under clearing skies, preparations for the fiesta of the Nativity are completed. Musicians and singers are on hand. Tubs of chili con carne bubble over coals. Fry bread sizzles in pots of tallow. Tamales steam inside their corn husk wrappers. Hidden away is a Santa Claus suit to appear when the towering stacks of mesquite feed the evening bonfires. At sundown, Kuipichu, or Under Tree, plays his ancient flute and beats a deer-hide drum. His brother dances, brass shells and bells at his belt, rattles from knee to ankle. As the traditional half-Papago legend, half-Christian ceremony begins, 2 little Papagos dart across the clearing and stop in front of a white woman. All eyes turn to the 2 gap-toothed boys, shyly handing a basket to Mrs. Cater. Baskets are fairly common in Papago country. However, this one is anything but common appearing. It is exquisite, lovingly fashioned from pastel yucca fibers. Her efforts to thank them fail, however. They urge her to open it. To humor them and to enable the celebration to continue, she acquiesces, gently opening the delicate little basket. She gasps in disbelief. It can't be! But it is. 8 little seeds. Seeds that taste like nuts, seeds that grow only on the top of the big Ajo Mountains. Whirling through her mind in milliseconds are images. Early on a bitterly cold December morning, while it is still dark, 2 little boys rising from their mats and stealthily slipping out of the mud and wattle hut so as not to wake the rest of the family. By the time daylight reveals the looming black heights of the Ajo Mountains, they have put miles behind their feet. They begin the long climb into the mists. There are no roads, scarcely any paths. As they zigzag up the great wall of rock, fighting brush, cactus, and assorted spiny plants all the way. 1,000 feet above the plain below, they stop and look back at the long way they've come. 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet. The sun climbs and the unmarked way gets steeper and steeper. 4,000 feet above the desert floor, and now they are forced to deal with snow and ice, yet still they climb on. Almost a mile above the only world they know, they at last reach the perilous cliffs, where struggle for existence a few scattered trees, stunted and battered by fierce winter storms and the sizzling furnace blasts of summer. Occasionally seeds good to eat, can be found in these trees. That is, if the mountain squirrels or birds don't get to them first. Danger, danger all around, and one fall would be the last fall. Yet the 2 boys skirt the abyss and dare their way to the eyries, preferred by these most inhospitable trees. Somehow they must find these seeds, these precious seeds that represent the only thank you in their power to give. The shadows lengthen dangerously before they reluctantly give up the search and begin their long descent with all the treasure they can find. 8 insignificant-looking little seeds. During the dangerous climb down, they edge their way from tree to tree, from clump of brush to clump of brush, from outcropping to outcropping. Frequently they stop and discuss how to traverse the late afternoon, iced-over streams. At long last, when they feel they can't possibly endure the vertical descent any longer, the shadowed land finally begins to slope more gently, and far below, in the setting sun, they see the wattled walls of home. It is night when they wearily step into the hut. Mutely they open their hands and reveal the 8 seed nuts. They are afraid. Was it wrong to risk their lives to just find 8 little seeds? 8 seeds for a white lady who might not even value them at all? Father looks across the fire at Mother. Neither speaks for some time. Finally, Father gets up, walks to the doorway, and peers into the night, peers northeast, toward Baboquivari Peak, in ancient times the seat of Eeatoi, the Great Spirit. Meanwhile, the boys and their mother wait silently for the verdict. At last, Father steps back inside with an air of resolution. He turns to the boys and declares, "It is well. Eeatoi will be pleased. The Tohono O'odham pay their debts." The decision made, the boys turn naturally to Mother for implementation. "We must find a basket to put them in," she declares. "Not just any basket, but a basket worthy of the gift." Her head in hand, she ponders a while, then straightens, having found the answer. "Tomorrow, go down to the big rock that shelters the clump of eehooks, the white man calls them devil's claw, and bring me back the seed pods. I shall combine them with that yucca fiber I have been saving for a very special basket." The 2 boys stand there, still, and they wonder why it is that the white lady is so silent. Is she unhappy with them because they were able to find only 8 seeds? Why doesn't she thank them in the usual way of white folks, many words spoken quickly? But then they look up to the quivering lips and beyond. They understand as they see the tears.